Hello and welcome. Today, we're taking our data analysis skills to the next level by introducing not only the commonly used functions, but also some advanced ones that will supercharge your ability to extract insights. Let's dive into mastering both the basics and the advanced Excel function for data analysis. Average function. The average function helps us find the mean or average of a set of numbers, providing a central measure of the data. This is crucial for understanding the typical value within a range. To apply this, we're going to use the following set of data. Here, we have a set of product names, product numbers, the unit price excluding tax for each product, and the unit price VAT included for each product. Our first mission is to calculate the average of the price. Let's start with the first price, the unit price excluding tax. So to calculate this, here you see the function that we used. Function is called average. So let's reproduce that. We'll start always with equal and then average. Here we see the list of functions that start with AV. We choose the one that we want, double click, and then you can see that we have this comment bubble that show us the argument that this function takes. So it takes numbers, number one, semicomma, number two, etc. So first number, semicomma, second number, semicomma, third number. You see that this takes some time. What we can do is instead of selecting numbers, we're going to select a range. So we're going to select from row 7 until the row 15. And we can close our function and click on enter. You see here, we did combine numbers, single cells, with range cells, and we had no problem. Let's do the same thing to the second column, column E. So same thing, equals, average, double click. We can select the whole column and then close our function. Click on enter. Here we have the average price of the unit price VAT included. The problem in this approach is we need to make sure that there is no other data on that column. Because if so, and we weren't aware of it, it's gonna ruin our result. For example, if down here I have 5,000, if I go back, you can automatically see that the average has changed. But when I select the column over here, I didn't see that price down there. So the correct way actually to do it is not to select the column, but select the range of data that you want to see the average and click on enter. Another interesting thing to show you is going to be a KPIs, basic KPIs that are generated automatically once you select a range of numbers. So, for example, if we select this one, you can see automatically at the bottom of the page three KPIs. First one is average. Once you click on it, it automatically gets copied. Second one is count. So here it counts the number of cells that you've selected that contain that. And third one is the sum, which is the sum of the selected cells. If we right click on those insights, you can see that we can add the maximum of the range, the minimum, and the numerical count which means that it only counts the cells that have numbers. So let's add this one and show you the difference. So numerical count versus count. Now they are equal, but let's include a text cell. You see that here it says that we have 12 cells that contain number and 30 cells that contain data. Count function. The count function assists us in determining the size of our dataset by counting the number of cells with numerical values. It's a handy function for quickly assessing the completeness of our data. So let's practice this count function. Here I'm asked to provide the number of product with the price. As we see earlier, the product 7 doesn't have a price. So let's count the number of product that has a price. So let's write equal count, and we can click directly over here. Here you can see the arguments of this function, which are the values, and I can select the whole this whole range, even with the title. But it should only return the data with numerical cells, the number of cells with a numerical data. Let's close. Click on enter. You see here we have 11. Let's verify this quickly with the KPIs. Here we have numerical count 11. Let's do the same thing again for the second column, count, and then select these numbers, for example. It's okay if I go beyond because I know these are empty cells. So let's close the function and click on enter. Here we have 12. We can also test it with the quick KPIs, 12. Max and min functions. Moving on, the max and min function are fantastic tools for identifying the highest and the lowest value within a dataset. These functions are invaluable for pinpointing peak and low in your data. Here we're asked to provide the maximum price and the minimum price for the both column. Let's write the function. So equals max max. Here we can see the function again, double click, and we see the argument, it's numbers. So let's select first range, close the function, click on, and here is to return automatically the maximum. For this second column, we can do something simple, is simply drag our formula. So we're gonna come to the uh, so we're gonna put our mouse in the corner of the cell. Once we have this black plus, we can click and drag the formula and then we unclick. So you see that we have a number. To check if the formula is correct or not, we click on it and select. And you can see that the formula has picked the right range. How does it work? Since we slide it from a column to another, it automatically consider that the formula is gonna also just slide. For example, here we have the first range from D4 until D50. If we slide the range, it's gonna be from E4 to E50. That's the logic behind it. Let's do the minimum. So minimum, same thing, equals min. We can see the function, double click, select our range, close it, and click on enter. And then we can do the same thing and just drag it, and we'll have the minimum for the second range. We can check also the function selected the correct range. VLOOKUP function. Now let's introduce VLOOKUP function. VLOOKUP allows us to search for a specific value in a table and return a corresponding value. It is perfect for creating dynamic relationship between dataset, providing us with unparalleled flexibility in our analysis. This is a very interesting function and it is very used in several domains. To practice this function, we're going to use this second table. So here, let's suppose this is a list of products that has been bought by a client. What we want to retrieve is the unit price excluding tax and unit price VAT included. So to correspond between first and second table, we are going to use the VLOOKUP. So first, let's see the argument of this function, VLOOKUP here. So we have first argument is lookup value, which is a specific value that you wanted to look up in our data. So we're gonna search this value in a table, in the first table. Second argument is table array, which is the location where is the value are present in Excel. Third one is column index number, which specify the column number from where we need to return the value. And the last one is range lookup. This has two options. If the value is set as false, that means we are looking for an exact match. If the value is true, then we are looking for an approximative match. So here we are looking for this product in this table. Let's fix this value. And what are we looking for? We're looking for the unit price. So the unit price is the third column. So we're gonna write 3. And then we are looking for an exact value. So it's gonna be false. Close the function. One thing you should keep in mind is the value that you're looking for, in our case, product name, should always be the first column of the table array, which is in this case the B column. Now let's hit enter and see the results. 35. You see, for the product one, the price is 35. Let's do the second one. For the second one, we're gonna write equal VLOOKUP and then choose the product name, semi-comma, select the table, taking in consideration that the first column is our product name, semi-comma, and then for the unit price VATs included, it's the fourth column. So we write 4 and lastly 0 or false, 0 equals false for the exact match. Let's close the function and click on enter. You see here we have the 42 returned automatically. Something that I did while writing the function is to fix my table. So you can see here we have a sort of dollars over here. To do that, you can just select the whole range and click on F4 on your keyboard. This way, when I drag my formula, the table won't change. The table will be fixed. But if you're gonna see, from this formula to the second one, the lookup value has changed from G4 to G5, G6, and so on. But the table won't change. If, for example, I didn't have those dollar before, and I drag my formula, you're gonna see that even the table changed. For example, if we click on this one, the table is this red highlighted square, and you see that in this case it doesn't take on consideration product one. Another thing to do to keep my table stable is instead of selecting cells or range, I can select columns this way. And here, if I drag, it's always going to be the column that are selected. Sum ifs function. When dealing with more than complex dataset, the sum if function become incredibly useful. Sum ifs allow you to sum values based on a multiple criteria. This is powerful for segmenting and analyzing data that meets specific conditions. To answer this question, which is sum of the products that are greater than 40, we can use the function SUMIF. So here, let's try this one on this set of data. We write equal and then sum. We have some if without an s and some ifs. The arguments of the function. First one is sum range, which is the range where the function calculates the sum. So those are the cells that are going to be summed. Second argument is criteria range 1. Criteria range 1, we can also have criteria range 2. Those we can also have criteria range 2 and so on are the ranges where the function check the condition. And last, the condition, which is criteria. We can refer to it to criteria 1, criteria 2, and so on, which can check things like if the number is greater than another one, if a number is smaller than another number, and if a number or a text is equal to something. So in our case, first thing we want to sum those prices based on for the range criteria is gonna be the unit price excluding tax, and then the criteria is greater than 40. So here, greater than 40. We close the code and then we close the function. And we click on enter. If you see here, we have 55. And if we check, the lines that have a price greater than 40 is the product 9. So it's only return 54. We can redo the same thing. We can choose another criteria. Let's do equal sum ifs. Let's do two criteria this time. The sum range is the same, semi-comma. The criteria range is going to be the same, first criteria range, and the criteria would be smaller than 40. So let's write that. And then let's choose another range, criteria range, but this one it's gonna be text. So let's take this one. And the criteria will be that it is equal to product one. Sorry, up, sorry. Close the code and close the function. Here you have 84. So if we see the first criteria, products that are smaller than 40 are all those products from 1 to 11. So normally the sum should be 162. But since we added the second criteria, which was product 1, he only considered the first two. So the sum of those two is 84, and we have 84. This is how this function works. Let's go to text join. Last but not least, the text join function is a fantastic tool for combining text from multiply cell into one. It allows you to concatenate text with a specific delimiter, make it handy for creating concise and well-structured output. This is an easy function. The goal is, for example, here we have product, name, and number. So let's combine those two in one cell. So equal text join. So arguments of this function are the following. First is delimiter, which is the string that is inserted between each text value. The most common delimiter used are a comma or a space character. Ignore empty, which is an argument that helps in determining whether empty cells are included in the resulting setting. If the argument is true, it will ignore the empty cells. If the argument is false, it will include the empty cells in the result. And then we'll have text1, text2, etc., which are the strings that we wish to join together. The text join function allows us to join up to 252 strings together. So delimiter is going to be a comma. Second is we're going to include empty cells. We don't have them here, but let's include the empty cells. And then we choose our text. First text is the name, semicomma, and then second text is the product number. And we close our function. And here we have product one and its number. We can simply just drag this function until the last line of this table. And there we have it. A comprehensive guide to both common and bit more advanced Excel functions for data analysis. If you found this video and book informative and helpful, we'd really appreciate if you could take a moment to share your positive feedback on Amazon. Thank you for being part of our community and for your support.